We'll find out. What's up, everybody? Lori, we are live.
We are.
Like it or not, we're live. Hi, I am Kristen Gutierrez, a best-selling author and a keynote speaker. And man alive, am I filled with just motivation and inspiration these days to help other people get out of their own way. And Lori, I love when we got connected, it was through Lee, right?
Yeah, Lee. She's the best.
Dang.
She is.
This is the second time we have to bring Lee to the show because it's literally the second time in like a week I've given her a shout out. But hi, tell us who you are and we will get this party started.
Hi, Kristen. So my name is Lori Kirkstead. I'm the founder of Content Uncomplicated. What I do is I help businesses get rid of their random acts of content. Everybody's doing content, but half the time people don't really know why. They don't know how to measure it. They're just cranking stuff out. So I ask one simple question: why are you doing this?
Why?
And you think it's easy, why are you writing a blog? There's a reason for every single decision. And especially in marketing, but I would say even more so in content, everybody thinks they know the answer.
Wait, the audio. Wait, well, something just happened to the audio.
Oh no! Let's try this. Let's turn this off.
Yeah, okay, we'll try it that way. Everyone thinks they know the answer from there.
How about now?
Yes. Okay.
Girlfriend, the technical issues on this, I can't even, oh well. I just feel like I would never walk up to anyone in finance, like an accountant, and be like, I could do that. But when you're in marketing, everyone has an idea. And especially with content, everyone has a cool idea. We should do this. Fine. Maybe ideas will land. But what I do is I help people figure out the why behind every decision, behind every piece.
Nice. I like it. I like it. No, this is not me admitting that I have content that I have no idea what I'm doing with. It's like every single one of my posts, where is my self-help group for this? Or like, where's my group for this?
Yep. I mean, that's the thing is I want to stress that I sometimes just post random things because ideas come in. This is just your guardrails. Strategy, like they say, is just as much choosing what you're not going to say versus what you are going to say. And sometimes you just have a little bucket of your strategy of these are going to be my crazy things that I post, my personality posts, just do it.
Yeah, right. Well, I think there's a time and there's a place for it, right? I mean, I really do.
Yeah.
People buy from people they know, like, and trust. And whether you're selling, whether you're selling or whether you're not selling and you don't realize you're selling, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think, where's your opinion on this? In 2024, it's like AI is everywhere. And we've all been modeling, trying to master what other people are doing. But at the end of the day, because people buy from people, not robots, that they know, like, and trust, my opinion is there is a time and a place for personality, authenticity, to show up in my content strategy. What's your take on that?
Well, I just choked on my seltzer, so. No, but I absolutely think you're right. This reminds me of, I listen to a lot of podcasts, obviously. Joe Pulizzi is one of my favorite, Content Inc. And authenticity is hard to get out there when you're talking from a company perspective, right? So it's the age of the company podcast, the company blog, because you don't know who that is, right? And this was something that I struggled with when I started, because I went from being someone who represented a company to someone that was my own company. And I was known for, being funny. I throw a lot of F-bombs around, but that's me personally. I had to figure out who I was authentically through my content. And that's really, really hard. I've been in content my entire career. If I struggle with it to do it for myself, other people have to be struggling with it too. But I mean, that being said, you're right. Don't be afraid to let your freak flag fly a little bit. You have to. You just do. I'm not saying go over. I want to know who you are. that's why I think you and I connected, because we talked about our businesses, and you were so wonderful to even offer to help me. But we dove right into our personal messy lives and connected, you know?
I know, that's the thing, right? It's like ever since working. So how long have you worked for yourself? I've worked for myself now a year.
A year, I think. I'm about 7 months. I got laid off in August and had no intention of doing this whatsoever. But I am not good at relaxing. I'm just not. I can watch my Netflix and surf my YouTube videos for a couple days, but I went from sort of I don't want to go as far as say a crazy toxic environment, but a environment where I never came up for air, that it always was trying to bring someone else's brand to life. So when I started to do my own thing, so many ideas, like everyone, right?
Yes.
Next step, niche down. And then after about a month of trying things out, it was like, I could actually do this. I'm sure that's not a unique story, but it was my story. It was my time to go through it, you know?
I love that. No, because, well, first of all, I was going to ask you, there's so many questions. I'm going to come back to the one, which is is your content harder to do? I'm coming back to this. Is your content harder than your content as a support within a business? And isn't there a thing there about, okay, we'll go there. But as an individual, business, as our own businesses, right? You have to almost just lean in and you have to trust. And the number one strategy I have found in order to cater and curate and best fit and fine tune what I'm offering to everybody is to get on phone calls and figure out what their needs are. And from there, be like, yes, this works and this is what it could look like. Or no, respectfully, it's not actually a fit, right? And I think that's what we all learn 7 months in, 2 months in, a week in, a year in, that we are constantly evolving.
Constantly.
Yes. So is it harder? And if you're just joining us, drop your questions in the chat. Restream doesn't always show everything to everybody, but at least we'll see your questions afterward. And Lori or I will respond back. But okay, you as a content producer your entire life working for somebody else, now you're like, I've got so many ideas, and this is the thing, you help make content. What was it? Uncomplicated, or what?
My company is called Content Uncomplicated, and my mission is to get rid of random acts of content.
Random, I love it. I love that, and I love that. So is it harder for you to make content for yourself than it is for you to make content for the organizations in which you used to work?
Short answer is yes. I've gotten better at it, but the thing is, it goes back to this authenticity, is that these are my own ideas, and then this whole imposter syndrome comes into play, where I know my stuff. I've been doing this for 16 years, but putting something out there is scary. It's so easy to judge people who make videos or they post a podcast. I could have done a better job. Really? Go ahead and write something, get behind the microphone, and it's a totally different environment. It feels totally different. But something I worked through. It's when you put even though it's my business, a part of it is me. I know it shouldn't be that personal, but you're putting your little baby out there. And it's what's that Erykah Badu quote? It's I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my, I'm sensitive, but I'm working on sort of separating that, where writing and the content I produce, you got to get out of, will everyone like this? What's the feedback? Whatever, it's your target. Everything that I tell clients and that I did, it almost went out the door when I was trying to do it to myself. So a good activity is to just treat yourself like a third client. Don't talk about yourself. It's not you. Divorce yourself.
Yes, divorce yourself from the outcomes. Okay, we're going to come back to the imposter syndrome and strategies, because this is my jam. I think you know that, but isn't it ninja that we just totally teed up clients who need you? Because there's two types of CEOs: founder CEOs, like this is my company, I grew it from the ground up, and just CEOs of a business, right? And maybe in a big organization, you're not even dealing with a CEO. Clearly, you're dealing with a marketing manager, a market VP of marketing, but like, it's like using an expert like you in the outside, helping look at our content and what is being like redundant in a bad way. What's the why behind every piece? You come in objectively. Whereas we are coming, if it's my company, like we're coming at it subjectively. We're like, no, this piece of content's so emotional. Like this works. And you're like, no, that doesn't work at all.
You know what that reminds me of? When I am on, I swear to God, probably 99% of my discovery calls, I'll hear a common phrase and it's like, we're producing some really great content, but, and there's always a but, otherwise I wouldn't be talking to them. But I'm always like, why do you think it's great content? Because it's all subjective. Well, if it's great, it means it fits a brief, it fits a strategy, not that it's cool. And that's something people need to understand. You potentially could salvage that and make it work, but that one little stop in there in the conversation, I say, wait, like, why is it great? They don't know why they're doing it or why it's great. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. And like great should be measured by ROI. And you said that too at the beginning, like who is measuring their content? Is it LinkedIn? Is it the website? Is it click-throughs? Is it, what else? And so that is actually not just like, oh, it felt great, but like, like actually creating outcomes.
Yes. And what I found, because this was my role, for 8.5 years at an ed tech company, is that your job is to do strategy, but it's also to execute on that strategy. Like I led a team of 4 managers, lots of people actually doing stuff, but it's so hard to come up for air because you're just cranking one thing out after the other. And when you're in-house, you feel like you're chasing your tail. Mm-hmm. So I thought of what I wanted Content Uncomplicated to be and what I want my services to be, in the sense of like, imagine I was back at that role. What would I want a consultant to come in and help me with? And that's what I did.
I love it. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your tailored strategy approach, because I'm sure just like you, or like me, no one client, I could be serving the exact same industry. I came for 20 years from the localization industry, and a lot of my clients are in that sector, but still they look the same and they are not. Like every single client of mine is tailored specific. So tell me about your tailored strategies.
Absolutely. So obviously you can break it down by industry or vertical, and there are going to be commonalities, right? But like you said, no two companies are the same. So if I have company A and company B and we're selling almost the same thing, everyone says, we have to do this because they're doing that. Maybe, that's a big maybe. Maybe you do need to go head to head. But when I talk custom, it's like, forget what they are doing right now. Like with your positioning and where you are in the market, of course you have competitors. That's not where we're starting right now. What are your business goals? Because that's the big thing. People think, how can I tie a blog, an infographic to revenue? There is a way to do it. Like I've had people come to webinars, a thought leadership webinar. They contact sales and it's been a $20,000 deal. I'm not saying it's going to happen every day. That's, super lucky, but that's kind of the way things go.
Yeah.
Sorry if I have my landscaping people outside, like they're never here. And of course, the day I go live, I'm like, okay.
I called them and I'm like, hey, show up at Lori's house right now because Murphy's Law never disappoints.
Yep.
Okay, I love it, right? And I know in one of the spaces I play in, and I'm going to play more in, like this high ticket offer space, helping entrepreneurs kind of put together all their awesomeness. Even in that space, like webinars, well, I love webinars all day long for all types of reasons, especially in corporate. Yeah. But the workflow used to be like a webinar to a landing page to an offer, but now it's like a 4-hour masterclass, or it's like a 3 to 5 day event for a couple hours, and like giving a ton of value. I mean, is that what you talk about with your clients, is like how to give more value? And are you still advising, or not that you ever did, but like gated content versus like free-for-all content? Talk with me about those two things.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the whole point of content. I like to look at content as like, how are you going to develop a friendship with someone, I'm not just talking about a relationship, because friendship has this level of trust and you know them, is that you're going to not just try to get stuff from them. That's a mooch of a friend. It should be mutually beneficial, right? You help each other out. Not really anymore, because I think people understand this, but like maybe even 5 years ago, I was still doing freelance then, but obviously smaller scale. The first thing people want to do is talk about their product. It's like, okay, if you're a salesperson, if you're a product marketing manager, that's your jam. Okay. People aren't ready to hear that. And like, take the funnel as just a suggestion, like who's rational and does everything in the right order, but like keep the idea in mind that let's use an example, right? If you're talking about a funnel, at the top of the funnel, let's say help people do their jobs better. And that's going to be the majority of your stuff, right? And if you're like, people are savvy. If you try to gate everything, they know you're going to market to them. So like, don't gate everything. It's the highest value stuff. At the middle of the funnel, it's like, okay, now I'm ready for you to tell me how you can help me. Then bottom of the funnel, fewer pieces, but now show me how you do it better than everyone else.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Do you have that as an infographic? Put that. I mean, I don't know if that's your own ninja sauce or just in general, like marketing 101.
Yeah.
But yeah, so many people don't know it. I find that like having grown up on the sales side, which is so like peripheral to marketing and content, right? But like, no, your superhero strength is so needed, because what's your ideal? I keep making assumptions of your ideal client, but you tell us, like, who's your ideal client? What do they look like?
Well, originally I was focusing on ed tech because that's been the majority of my career. And honestly, I love ed tech. I am an education advocate. I'm married to a teacher. But I would say it's more medium to enterprise businesses who are doing content. They value it. It's just they're having some problems. And who I target is the marketing director. Typically, when you get to the VP of marketing, they're delegating everything. So I find the most success with a director of marketing, mostly who doesn't have a dedicated director of content.
Right. Because this role, how long has this role even existed? I mean,
content's been around forever, right? Just like everything, but it's how we package it. Like content's being marketed better. But I think that goes along with a lot of misinterpretation of what content is. Like what I have done in my previous roles is I've been responsible for everything from, honestly, it was a full go-to-market strategy because it was a small team. But in addition to the sales and the positioning, it's like, what are the strategic topics? What are the themes and topics we're talking about? And how does that speak to each audience? And people miss that a lot. They talk about, here's our brand, here's our products. Now, what do we talk about? That's this whole section here. It doesn't have to be crazy. You could have 3 strategic themes, and who knows, it could be 8 topics, but like those are your guardrails, you know?
Yep. And like every post or every blog or every this, I mean, let me ask a naive question, right? Is video part of the content strategy?
I mean, it should be for everyone. Like that's a given. Video is the best content. It gets the most engagement. But I will say videos can be expensive. Not everyone knows how to do them. So I caution this with everyone. Like everyone knows, well, I shouldn't say that, but what I try to educate people on is you don't need to be everywhere. And you also can't because you don't have the resources or expertise, whatever. So, find your audience, all that stuff. But with video, I don't want to say, no, just don't do video. You need to find a way to do video. Even if it's not as polished as you'd like. I mean, just go live like we're doing right now. But
yeah.
So that's my sort of caveat is I think video is one of those things that everyone should do, but be cautious with it because people are wrong.
Yeah, because now there's like a spectrum of video. I mean, there's like the spectrum of content has increased, and like within just video itself, there's live scrappy videos, there's podcast videos because every podcast now is a video, right? And then there's like the really well put together, super scripted video. Yeah, and I love me. I love this medium of video because it allows us just to show up as we are, what we're doing, challenges and landscapers included. I can't.
But you know, when you talk about video, like it always comes back to the audience in your business, because I could talk till I'm blue in the face about the importance of video, but what if your audience only wants to watch like 10 seconds of something? They're like a super technical audience, but you're showing like really touchy-feely things. Like you just have to make sure you have the right piece for the right audience.
Love it. Okay, Lori. So if people want to reach you, like what's the best way for them to get in touch with you, to like see if what you have to offer is a good fit for them?
Well, you can go to my website, which is contentuncomplicated.com. I'm also on LinkedIn right now. Look me up, Lori Kirkstead. And honestly, feel free to shoot me a DM. I love, love, love meeting new people. You know, a lot of LinkedIn can be, you know, hit or miss. Maybe the algorithm doesn't love me today. But the one thing that I love about it is meeting people like Kristen, because who would have thought we would have done this today? And it's all because of LinkedIn.
I know it is. And a connection. Lee,
right.
For the second time, shout out to Lee. Okay, so let's wrap up and let's talk about this idea of imposter syndrome, because I know like we're kind of shifting gears from like you as the expert in content and just generally like, because the same thing happens. It's funny, like when I first lost my job, April 17th of 2023, I said to my mentor, like, you know, I'm having meetings, but like, I'm scared. Like I basically said, I'm scared. And he's like, yeah, Kristen, because it's personal now. Like you can go out and set multi-million-dollar programs, and I have, as a contributor, as a leader, multiple millions of dollars of programs. But when you're doing it for yourself, it's personal. And I heard that from you when you're writing content for an organization or even as a freelancer versus now owning your own business, and it matters. And there's this imposter syndrome, right? So, I mean, I could talk about it all day, but
but honestly, like, hey, I love therapy. I think everyone should explore their big feelings. And I still don't understand why I get so nervous. I know it's natural and I work through it, but a lot of people come to me and they ask me for advice, and I have to turn around and be like, oh, you're asking me? It's like, oh, because I've been doing this for a while. I do know my stuff. The things I post resonate. I deserve to take up space, and people benefit from what I have to say. It's just when you start and you don't have your own proof points yet, you're just like, oh my God, what is happening right now? Who's going to like this?
Yes, that's the hardest thing, is just starting. And I mean, shameless plug, that's why we're doing the 4-hour masterclass, Say Yes and Figure It Out. Because if you have this idea, or you were thrown to the wolves like you were, right? And you're like, cool, like what are all my superhero strengths and how am I going to just lean into that? Now you have to just actually do it. And I'm giving away the 4-step blueprint as to how I just take massive amounts of action and keep getting out of my own way, because I recently decided I was just going to 10x everything, because you mentioned the algorithm, right? Like nobody sees my stuff anyway. I mean, a very small circle of people out of my 6,000 followers.
The heart. I love it.
I was talking to somebody earlier and I said something that like I didn't agree with, and it gave a thumbs down.
Oh my God. I wish I could do that too. Well, it's only Kristen. Come on, man.
All right. So yeah. So that's the thing. Like, how do we get started? We have to get out of our own way. We have to know that, I'm going to 10x everything, because everybody, I'm going to force the algorithm to show my stuff to more people. And you have to do that too as an entrepreneur.
And it's a harsh reality that you have to get used to being uncomfortable. That's why a lot of people don't do this, because it doesn't feel good. And you need to compartmentalize sometimes and say, this is a real thing. And this is just the thought I'm having, you know?
Yes. And one person's opinion, the only person's opinions that pay your bills are your own. Right? But somebody will say something and they'll be like, oh, and that's the thing that'll like stop you in your track. This is my definition of imposter syndrome. And it makes you feel like a fraud. And you're like, what if I and you start overthinking everything, and then you don't post on LinkedIn or wherever for weeks on end.
Yep.
But the world needs your voice, so keep going.
Here's a concluding thought, right? I just thought of this. My old boss, his name is Colin Ernst. He is the leader of the EdTech Leadership Collective, doing his own thing. We're all a bunch of entrepreneurs right now. But when he was my VP, like 9 years ago, he said, don't be afraid to skin your knee when we're trying things. And that made so much sense to me, because he's not saying there's not going to be pain. Like, I don't want to skin my knee, but are you going to die? No. You'll heal in a couple weeks, right?
And you know, your kids, because like we've obviously, so the world doesn't know, but like we've bonded over our kids, and like my 5-year-old and 3-year-old don't even think twice about skinning their knee.
Yep.
I'm like, Gibson,
Yep.
could you please, you have like less than 40 days left of school, could you please not put more holes in your pants? He's like, well, what if it happens, Mom? And I'm
like, what?
I love this advice. This is amazing. I'm using this all the time. Thank you. Thank you, Colin.
Yeah, Colin's the best. I mean, I know this about myself, is that fear, not just about me, with anyone, fear can stop us from doing everything. And these things don't exist like evolutionarily. Like, we have anxiety for a reason, but like, we're not being chased by bears anymore. So I'm like, brain, like, stop being scared of an email or a phone call. Just do it. You know?
We're not being chased by bears anymore. Stop being scared of an email. Oh my God. All right, Lori, thank you so much, landscapers and all. I appreciate you being here.